So I was meant to be publishing an income report today, but I thought I would put it on hold because this is really important news. What I'm talking about, of course, is the big news that KDP is changing their royalty structure. So many people on KDP will recall there was a printing cost change some time ago, and then there was also the VAT added to the listing prices in the UK and Europe last year. Just be careful as well with the information that Amazon is giving. They're not mentioning this VAT being added. So when they say that the minimum price your book needs to be to still get the 60% royalty is $7.99, that is before the VAT added. So if you put your book at $7.99, the VAT on top of that brings your book to over £9. So just be aware of that. But anyway, I'm kind of going ahead of myself here, so I'll talk about the details in a second. So in this video, I'm going to outline the changes and do a few examples. I'm going to share what I'm planning to do and give some examples of prices. While this doesn't mean the end of low content, it does mean the end of low cost, low content books, which means that some books will certainly be priced out. And the type of book that's going to be priced out is just really simple notebooks, really, because they're going to struggle to sell at a higher price. However, if you're going to do larger size notebooks such as 8.5 by 11 or 8 by 10, or even if you're going to do hardcover. So hardcover books are not affected by this because most hardcovers, they're going to be over $9.99. And similarly, having a larger size notebook, people do perceive that to be higher value. So these are the changes. The print book royalties are going to drop down from 60% to 50% unless you have your book priced at a certain level. So it needs to be over £9.99 in the US, €9.99, or £7.99 in the UK. But remember, that is a bit misleading because there is a VAT charge on top of that. So it's going to be the hardest, I think, in the UK, really, because selling a low content book for £9.99 in the UK, it's quite a lot. Give me your opinion on it, but I'm just not sure. You can get certain journals and things that are definitely a lot higher than £9.99 in the UK, but for more simple books, I'm not sure. It might not look that much on the surface, but if you actually go into the back end of Amazon and start playing around with the numbers, you can see that the change is really quite significant. And I'm going to give you some examples of that in just a moment. So the impact is that some books will actually go down to zero royalties. And on the plus side, it's not going to affect you. So if you have some books that you just end up not editing the price and it goes down to zero royalties, you're not going to go into minus, so that's a bonus, I guess, if you want to see it. But the worst that it is that your book might be selling and you're not getting any royalties for it at all. So the best thing to do is definitely to go in and change your prices so that you're at least going to be getting some royalties for it. Do check your KDP bookshelf. You can download the list of affected books, I believe. Certain books that are going to be over $9.99 are not going to be affected. Hardcovers, therefore, are not going to be affected, and also any books that you happen to have that are over $9.99. So I recently published a children's book. Actually, it's not fully published because it kept coming back with errors to do with the bleed, so I still haven't published it, but I have published the Kindle version, and the Kindle books are not affected either, by the way, so that's another bonus, I guess. But the kids book I've published, of course, is over $9.99 because it's a full colour book, and those are a lot more expensive. So I think it's on at something like $11.99. So that's another thing, is that colour books, I believe they're going to have a slight reduction on the cost there. I don't know the exact reduction at this point, but it's probably not going to be very much. That's another alternative, I think, going forward, is creating books that have a higher perceived value that you can definitely charge more than $9.99 for. One example is going to be coloured journals. Obviously, that's going to cost a lot more, but people are willing to pay for that. And also having a larger size of book. So some of my books are 8 by 10 and 8.5 by 11, and I feel like I can charge a higher amount for those kind of books as opposed to the 6 by 9. Obviously, the larger size does cost more to print, so you do lose out in that way. So what will this be the end of? Well, it will be difficult to sell notebooks at a higher price point. I am kind of getting around this by potentially doing hardcovers and also doing just larger size notebooks, and potentially with other elements inside them. A lot of my best-selling notebooks are just really simple full 6x9, and a lot of those were priced at $6.99. But I think if you have larger notebooks, you can charge more. Another thing that's coming to an end really are the super low price books of $5.99 and below. It's long been a tactic to essentially copy a book and try and sell it for a much lower price point, and this really puts an end to that. So I don't think that is a bad thing. And also some publishers sell colouring books at a really low price point, and that's not going to be possible either. Although I think selling colouring books at a very high price of $9.99 or above is going to be really quite difficult unless you're providing a lot of value. So for example, if it's a hand-drawn, beautifully illustrated colouring book, then of course you can get away with charging $9.99. I have increased some of mine to $8.99, and I'll just have to see if they sell at that price point. So I'm going to hop onto Amazon now and just go through some of my book prices and show you what the difference is going to be and what I'm probably going to change some of the prices to. So I'm just going to go through a few examples. So this book is an 8x10 inch book, 100 and something pages. And this is one book that I'm actually putting up. So at the moment, this is actually on at $8.99. I'm just about to change it. So it's on at $8.99, which means that I was getting a royalty of $2.55, and that would be going down to $1.66 after this change. So I'm just going to take the plunge with this and put it up to $9.99, and that's going to give a royalty of $3.15. So it's a pretty huge difference between $8.99 and $9.99. And that's why I think it's just going to be worthwhile doing. With the UK, because there's the VAT issue, I'm going to put it up to £8.32, which will unfortunately take this book up to $9.98. So at the moment this book is on at $7.99 after the VAT. So if I want to get the full royalty, I'll need to have the actual price here above $7.99. And to do that, it means this is going to be over £9, which is a bit too much, really, but I'm just going to go with it anyway. So the royalty then that I'll have from this book will be £2.84, and I'll just have to see. Similarly, I'm just going to go with Europe, going at $9.99 for this book as well, because I don't really make sales with this book anyway in European countries, so I may as well put it up to this price anyway. In the Canada, at the moment, I think it was on $12.99, so I've just put it up to $13.99, and for that I'll get $4.86 in Canadian. And in Australia, you have to have at least $13.99 here, and this is the actual listing price here. So I've had to go up to $14.54, which will give the listing price of $15.99. So this is an 8x10 book, and as such, I feel like it has a bit more value to it because it is a larger size book. When it comes to the 6x9, I think it's going to be a bit harder. So this book that I'm looking at now is actually just a notebook, but it's one that sells really well. Recently it was on at $6.99, but I decided to put it up to $7.99. And I might even put it up higher than that because it does sell well, and also it's a kind of gift related book. So $7.99 then is going to give me a $1.51 royalty, which is pretty low. This book is on at £6.66 in the UK because of the VAT issue. And unfortunately, that means that the royalty is going to go down from £1.91 to £1.24. But let me know what you're going to price your notebooks as. So this is an 8.5 by 8.5 colouring book that I published quite recently, and it was actually on $7.99 before, but I've just put the price up to $8.99. So the current royalty is $2.55, and that's going to go down to $1.66 after the change. And I don't think I can put this up to $9.99. It's a colouring book, but it's an AI generated one. It's, I'm not saying it's bad quality, but I just think $9.99 is pushing it for a colouring book. But I was on $7.99 before anyway, so I have to put it up. So before I was only making $1.95, and that was going to go down to $1.16. So now I'll be making about 30 cents less than I was before at $7.99. Similarly, I've got this on at now £7.49, and so I'm going to be making $1.60 after the change. So I'm just going to look at a couple of books that I've seen at $9.99 or above. This is a really well-known kind of journal, and this is on at $12.99, but it's only got a black and white interior, as you can see here. But a lot of people buy this as a a gift, and it's got 6,000 reviews, so I guess that's why they feel that they can put it up to $12.99. But for me, I think this is a 6x9 book, and it is very expensive for what it is, but it still has really good reviews. It's still got a black and white interior, and it's still really popular. Another one here, for example, 101 story starters for kids. Now, if we look inside here, you can see just how simple this book actually is. It's just got story starters and some little graphics here, but only in black and white. It's a nice book, really nice cover, and normally it is on $11.99. Amazon has put this on a sale at the moment, which sometimes it just does. You still get the same royalty. Then you've got a book like this, which is on at $9.95 at the moment. Okay, so there's a brief introductory page, and then literally this is what it's like. Write your name, use a different pattern for each letter. And then there's just one prompt on each page and a completely blank page. I don't know if there's any more to this book than this, but it doesn't seem like there is. I'm presuming they're going to put this up to $9.99, and that's not going to make any difference. But it doesn't have any A+ content at all, and yet it's got really good reviews. So I think there's plenty of scope for creating higher quality books that you can sell easily for at least $9.99. So what am I actually going to do? Well, with a majority of them, I'm definitely going to be increasing them somewhat. I don't feel that a lot of the notebooks that I currently have I can change to over $9.99 at all, so I definitely won't. And some of the 6x9 books, I don't think I can go up to $9.99. But I will try and go to $8.99, and that will definitely help. So I will be making a loss on a proportion of them. But from here on out, I'm definitely going to be focusing on books that I can price at $9.99 or above. So I'm thinking about doing hardcovers, colour books, so even if those are journals. Also, I did a video recently, which I'll link to somewhere here on the screen, about books that contain like clip art, and also books that have images in them that people use to do vision boards. And those books are priced at over $20. So even though you might only get a couple of dollars per book because of the amount of pages that are in there, and also because they're full colour books, you won't be affected by this royalty change. So I might consider looking into doing more image only books as well. Just to let you know, if you are new to my channel, I do income reports regularly, so you will be able to see the difference in my royalties, which have changed a lot anyway this year. So I think, to be honest, Amazon has been playing around with the algorithm in preparation for this change. That is my feeling. I did have a feeling that something was coming around the corner, I have to say. And unfortunately, you do have to anticipate this kind of thing when you're relying on an external platform like Amazon. So let me know what you think about this change. Don't panic too much about it. When I first heard about it, I was in a panic, definitely. But now I've, thought it through, and I think changing your prices by $1 or $2, especially if you have a lot of established books anyway, it may not make that much difference, and you might even start making more money on some of the books. Time will tell. But thank you very much for watching, and I will speak to you again very soon.